Hello there. This is going to be a VOD review of, as you know from the title, a player who was widely believed to be the best Shaco in the world, a Korean Shaco one-trick named 멘탈잡자으쌰으쌰 or something to that effect. I don't actually speak Korean. I don't understand what the joke in the name is, because I believe it is a joke. Anyway, this is a high elo Korean solo queue game that he'll be playing in. First thing to note is the exact caliber of this game he's in. He's versing, oh my gosh, that is significantly too large a circle. He's versing the starting jungler for the Jin Green Wings. He will also be versing Mei, an ex-pro player who played with Hong Kong Esports, I believe, in the LMS. He's got Rookie, the mid laner from Invictus Gaming, on his team. So several pro players and just generally a high elo game. So let's get straight into the gameplay.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Given the potency of the early game, Elise, and their relatively mediocre level 1 all things considered, he's starting bot side with the safety of his bot lane to protect and leash him. He'll likely be putting two boxes at his blue camp, then he'll be preparing 2 boxes to go into Wolves, and just go for a nice clear to get up to top lane around the 230 mark to counter against the inevitable Elise, Renekton stomp that's going to happen top lane.
Minions have spawned.
They're already contesting his topside jungle, which isn't a surprise. I'm assuming he'll have to change his path as a result and go for Elise's red buff. For those who are not quite understanding what he's doing here, the point of putting the box here is so that when the explosive plant spawns, he'll go immediately from blue to here, and when he explodes the plant it will land directly in the middle of the pit, as if he'd placed the box there to begin with for an optimal leash, but he can delay it using the explosive plant to any point he wants, which is generally helpful for fast clearing. Because Mental runs CDR, he'll be able to place 3 boxes here, despite only having 2 to begin with. Loses no health. We're getting an extremely efficient clear with that. This is pretty much an uncontested best route if you're worried about any other. Because he knows his damages and his time so well, he can just leave that behind and go for a quick invade. This is dangerous though. He knows Elise just took his red, but Elise could run straight here. And Elise wouldn't be down in levels because Wolves didn't give him level 3. So she could fight, and he sees the bot lane's going to be contesting this. He saved his smite, which was wise. Nothing wrong with that. If Elise had run straight there, it would have been a problem, but chances are she would barely have made it in time, and she would have had to give up so much. Any real chance of getting level 3 before him? So we can go for an early gank here, because his position is so good. Pretty easily denied the Galio escape, because Galio's escape is conditional on having a free path to move through. This is all just standard jungling play, highly opportunistic. He's managed to form a coherent route out of the fact that Elise inevitably took his red. He doesn't know for sure she hasn't taken his Krugs, so I mean, he probably should have used the scanner there to be sure also could have checked lane's top, Lord's top lane. The point is, this is all delayed Shaco a little bit. If he just cleared his own jungle, he would have completed roughly this XP about 20 to 30 seconds earlier. I think I'm going to bother taking this. Which is fair. Those are tedious. And the camp will reset even if you leave those behind. Something not many junglers know. If you leave the lower tiers of Krugs behind, they'll disappear and the camp will reset as if you cleared it fully. He sees Elisa's bot side, which alleviates a lot of pressure top side that Elise normally defaultly has. It's interesting to see two pro players who are not too relevant or at Worlds versing here in bot lane. But not really much has happened this game. Shaco largely has to leave himself open to respond to Elise ganks because Elise camps are so potent, especially topside with a Renekton. But he can just hold this. He's never going to catch that. Because I imagine he'll be itemizing towards an early Moby Boots. But it's hard to be sure, depends how much gold he has and how aggressive the Elise actually is. Elise likely won't go for this. Even if she turret dives properly, I don't think she can get the kill here. Yeah, she's not here. She'll just go back to farming. Elise is behind in farm because she has sat around and showed herself several times, and because we managed to get a fairly smart little route formed out of the weird counter jungling. But Shaco is sort of out of place here in this matchup. Shaco can't offer any of the same aggressiveness that Elise can. So if it just becomes a race between ganking, Elise's ganks will be able to tower dive and get significantly more. This is aggressive because he doesn't know where Elise is and no buffs. But all Galio's going in because Elise is there. That was just poor awareness of the circumstances he was in. Even if Alistair wasn't there, that 2v2 skirmish could have only gone at best even. Surprisingly, I don't see any Western players here, since even though there's a whole bunch right now boot camping in Korea in preparation for the Worlds. That advantage that came from mid lane will just keep going. Even though it looks like it's going well, when you're Galio you can play so safely, he just needs to wait for Elise to come again. And then it's another free kill likely. Renekton has positioned quite aggressively, it's possible Elise is in the jungle. Yep, oh, Elise is right there in fact. That was good knowledge of the limits of Elise versus Shaco. But again, he's found himself in a position where he can't do much. If it became a 2v2 skirmish, they'd inevitably win. That was just silly. You know, at that point teleport can just force him back. You can give him blue. That might even up the matchup a little bit, but again, if this just keeps becoming 2v2 skirmishes mid, I don't see how a Shaco can offer the same pressure. There's no way he can clean this up, he has no mana. None of this is necessarily his fault. So he has itemized not strongly enough, I'd say, to be out positioning the Elise at all. He's clearly gone to itemize towards winning these skirmishes with the Tiamat, but none of that will matter if he can't actually finish any of this. But this is pretty smart. This is one thing that Shaco can do over Elise, is the soloing of Baron and Dragon. But again, he doesn't know where anyone is, and he can't be sure this isn't warded, but he should be fine. Do this without any real consequences. He can't even lose his topside jungle because it's not really important. There's no buff there, and even if he loses out that farm, he's gained more from the dragon. Typically smart Korean wards around here, allowing them to get an advantage here, but yeah, they can't. They just don't have the compositional advantages to turn any mispositions by the enemy team into guaranteed kills. So all anyone on the map has to do is play safe until Elise comes. The surprising thing is how passive Renekton has been, honestly. And again, once Elise comes top, as she just did, it's just over at top lane. Naturally, they're going to try to 3-man push this. Possibly dive, but unlikely. And they've warded too well. Just out-rotated again. The only matchup that was in any contention was mid lane, because you can't necessarily just sit back against a Kassadin. He'll force advantages on you. But by the early pressure mid lane, we now have essentially 3 losing lanes. Because even if you're confident that you can win the 2v2 bot lane, a passive farm in this matchup is a win for Tristana. And with the pressure gain from Elise, you can't force any tower dives, and their warding has been too impeccable. And somehow Renekton has managed to fairly comfortably win this lane despite the comparative lack of interference from Elise. And once again, Elise just turns the fact that Shaco can't go anywhere without risking a bad skirmish into an objective. There's just no vision topside because they were looking for the tower dive and push bottom. Tristana can just rotate through each and every lane and take towers now. This is not going to work. That was close, but just not reflecting the gold differentials there. Rookie does not have the damage to finish all this off. And again, closer than you would expect. But it doesn't matter, even fights that go better than they should with this composition, I only grant them marginal gains. Elise securing the Rift Shaggers in the tower, and Shaco once again can't do anything. The vision is too limited to actually pressure any lanes. Lanes are pushing against them. Ironically, they're behind they are. Cassidy will continue to scale at a fairly good rate compared to Galio, who will offer less and less as the game goes on. In terms of ability to dominate team fights, he'll still offer the same reliable tankiness and engage. But Cassidy could serve as an alternative to Rookie, who is just too far behind the Tristana at this point. But they can't afford any more fights to go as messy as that last one. Even trades when you're behind is the same as capitulating. You're gonna give up pressure and objectives. Even though it's even numbers, they don't really have an advantage here. Well, that's just unfortunate. I mean, it was slightly foreseeable, but at least we'll go for the Cocoon now, so... The irony here is this is the first time I've actually had a good, varied ward coverage on the map. Such that they could actually contest objectives if they weren't so far behind. And that's just Tristana for you. Shaco might be able to contest this, but oh, just a simple misplay, and Galio still lands it. I'm assuming that was all warded and that's what caused that. Yeah... No. He just guessed that from that ward. That's quite impressive. It's now entering that point in a losing game where jungle is basically defined by inability to farm. They have control over the jungle even if they don't have necessarily direct ward control. There's too much risk that any one-on-one skirmish can snowball, especially against the Galio. The one thing Galio definitively offers over Kassadin is a sort of zone of control with his ultimate, where fights can't be taken at their face value. She was out of position, which cost her a heal if I was paying attention correctly, but again, Shaco as an assassin largely works on his ability to punish opponents for their disadvantages, for their weaknesses, but in compositions that are so well designed, with advantages, there's not much you can punish. Normally punishable things like Renekton's aggressiveness and overcommitments probably can barely be punished here. Like, they're gonna have to push so much just to get this. Luckily there's no Baron. But that was just... that's worth watching again. Just how much they don't have control here. This is the Galio zone of control. If they didn't have such a numerical disadvantage, they could have punished Renekton for being so out of position, but look at this. We look at where they are. You know, this is just greediness more than anything. Like if we mark which bushes are out, no vision here, no vision here. We can see Galio there, but And you can see like people coming. There's just no guarantees about how the fight will go at this point. You can't even guarantee, except for game knowledge, how quickly people will be here. And they're about to lose vision here. You gotta think about how long this has taken them to get this. Even if they get this cleanly, a 1 for 0, let's say. They've had to push so much onto getting this. It's plainly ridiculous. It's not the type of... And Cassid is bot side. And see, the Galio zone of control I was talking about just means that you can never take fights in their face value. Galio can very effectively delay until Elise gets there. And once Elise is there, there's too much CC. This was a stomp on a number of levels, both in terms of team comp and just how they played.
Red team's inhibitor has been destroyed. Red team's turret has been
Shaco itemized, I think, broadly incorrectly for this. Too defensively and too flexibly. What this really comes down to is that Elise played this very well. Umti's a generally good jungler, so it's not a surprise. But he managed to have control over Shaco in lanes he didn't even go to, like in top lane.
blue team double kill.
And now they're just... I think they're just trying to get gold where there isn't any really to be gained. Contesting objectives don't exist, it's just pointless in this situation. But I mean, it's just Baron's gone. Like, on spawn. Shaco hasn't even... Yeah, he's just got no chance of doing anything. And yeah, that's unsurprising. They need to spend any resources doing this. I mean, he can't even farm. Realistically, they should have surrendered by now, but in a game as like unpredictable as League of Legends, they just failed to surrender. Yeah, don't know why they should. I'm not 100% sure why they haven't taken Baron yet. Are they just dancing it? I suppose they can just force a pick off the fact that they want to take it. This is just... I wouldn't even call this a fight. It's just a siege with collateral. None of this is particularly unexpected. They should have surrendered a while ago. And the game's over, as you'd expect. Well, that was a relatively depressing game to watch. Hopefully it's I think the lesson here is that if you're out there and you're a jungle main, not even just a Shaco main, you need to be highly conscious of junglers with huge amounts of adaptability and the psychological element of map control. Just the fact that Elise Renekton was a guaranteed 2v2 win top lane, and 2v1 dive potential was there, gave enough pressure that was automatically a losing lane, even though the matchup can favour Maokai in certain circumstances. And then bot lane, I mean, it's not like this is automatically a winning lane for Tristana, but Tristana Alistar should be the winning lane, even skill. And Rookie just kind of got outplayed here. Not too surprising. But I mean, that happened. You have slight advantages occurring now. So Shaco being conscious of this should have been more focused on getting either fixing one of these two losing lanes or addressing what was happening mid lane. But the psychological impact of a high level jungler on something as really uncompatible as Elise was enough to force Shaco into some situations where there were no right decision. I think that's the... If you're gonna learn anything from this game, it's from how Elise played. Elise played the best way possible, which is to always force your opponent into decisions which have no good answer. Into contesting unwinnable lanes or farming and losing the game. Those sort of decisions leave them with nowhere to go, so to speak. And because of that, like, Shaco, that's not just an illusion of getting lots of small camps either. That's genuinely out-farming the Elise, but he can't, it doesn't matter because as you'll learn if you watch any Korean solo queue, the jungling for farm doesn't work. Catch up XP is too strong, and the pressure that Elise brought to the map was just too potent. So even though Shaco didn't wildly misplay and didn't misread the map, he just didn't have a proactive plan to deal with Elise's sort of broad map pressure. Since Elise was on a given side of the jungle, Shaco just capitulated it, and he had to, because his lanes were losing. Which is another factor. If once a lane gets as far behind as, say, mid lane did, there's not much you can do. Sometimes you're just fighting to stall and slow down the game. And I mean, the rest has been said in the game. I'll be doing more VOD reviews like this, probably the same Shaco player, hopefully of games that are less one-sided and more interesting. But feel free to comment whether you enjoyed this, whether you want more of this, whether the commentary was actually useful, whether you just prefer just blank VODs of him playing. Your choice. Let me know. Goodbye.